What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks everybody for tuning back in. Sorry I've been away for a couple of days, everybody. I've been getting over a sickness, got some kind of stomach bug, but today we're feeling better, getting back in the swing of things and getting back to it. But in today's video, I kind of want to go over my estimates for Keel Infrastructure's Q2 earnings report. There's a couple of things we want to look out for and a couple of things, we need to pay attention to when it comes to this earnings. It's not going to be a blockbuster earnings. I kind of want to get ahead of that and let people, get people aware of what could potentially happen. They're going to lose money, right? That's just how it is. The past, I think like 4 or 7 quarters, they've been, losing money. They haven't been profitable because they are making that transition into AI HPC data centers. I kind of just want to give some realistic expectations, kind of go over my bull case and bear case, revenue and EPS wise, and just kind of let us know what we should be looking for. And even if they do miss on revenue, which is very possible, if they miss and that's accompanied with a lease deal announcement or new megawatt expansion, anything like that, it could be a good sign, right? You don't want to see them come out with a revenue miss and then have this vague language and being very vague on things when it comes to, lease signs or, expansion or even, property updates with their different properties like Moses Lake. If they don't come out and say, oh, well, we broke ground, we're, started to build the data centers or anything like that. If they're real vague, I'm going to start questioning the thesis a little bit. This Q2 earnings is going to be a big, even a big decision maker for me where I continue my investments at. So we'll see what happens. And I will be live on the channel for the Q2 earnings, hopefully. I think it's on August 8th. I think it's around then. It might be a little bit later. I can't remember, but I'll have a video or a live stream scheduled on the channel if we are going to go live. But anyway, so the base case, the base consensus around Wall Street right now, what they are expecting Keel to do in revenue. So for Q2, they're expecting Keel to come in at about $34 million in revenue. They did miss last quarter. I think it was guided for like 37 and came in at like 34 or something like that. But so they are, expected to hit about 34 million in revenue with an adjusted EPS at about -6 to -7 cents, which is, of course, a loss. But that's the base consensus, right? And I kind of want to give you guys my bull case as well, along with the bear case. So my bull case when it comes to the earnings is going to be about 39 to 44 million in revenue. And this is only going to happen if it's going to depend a lot on the Bitcoin price. It's also going to depend on a lot of the cash burn that they're going through right now. So, we'll see as that comes out. With an adjusted EPS at about -1 to -4 cents, I think if they can post numbers like that, it's going to be very good, right? Especially if it's accompanied, like I said, by some kind of announcement, whether it's, rather just project updates or anything like that. It doesn't have to be a lease deal necessarily yet, because I'm going to give them to the end of like Q3 to kind of, let that play out. But I would like to hear some kind of updates regarding, Moses Lake or Panther Creek or Sharon, anything, right? Megawatt expansion, construction, whatever, right? Just something, right? We got to hear something. It's very, very important, especially to me on this earnings. Now, for the bear case earnings would be about 28 to 32 million in revenue. And this would indicate, just a lot of cash burn, selling off a lot of Bitcoin at a low price. And then with an adjusted EPS of -10 to -14 cents. Now, if this happens, if they come out with those numbers without any kind of updates or announcements, then I'm really going to be questioning my thesis and, really questioning why am I still holding this company if those kind of numbers do show up, especially not accompanied by an announcement, right? I am giving them leeway on the lease deal signs because they have always said, late summer, anywhere around there, right? So I want to give them the end of Q3, early Q4 to kind of make any decisions on that. But again, I keep going back to we need to hear some kind anything, right? We need to hear some kind of updates when it comes to construction or the data center build outs, right? Yes, they've been giving us like permit updates and stuff like that, but I want to hear something new. I want to hear something positive and something new. I don't want to hear vague updates or anything like that. So, we're really this is going to be a telltale quarter for me, at least, to see what direction they're heading in. We know their balance sheet is going to be pretty strong in comparison to their last quarter because they did do the capital raise, the equity raise. So they should be sitting at about $1 billion, maybe a little under due to, new construction that they're doing and paying for projects and stuff like that. So, last quarter they had, I think it was like $533 million on their balance sheet. Their balance sheet should be pretty strong, near or about $1 billion. So, I'm also on the lookout for that and looking out to see, how far off are they from that billion, and just to kind of see where the money's going, what they're putting it to, and stuff like that. So those are the three little, bull, bear, and neutral earnings cases, in my opinion. We are getting close to earnings, so I did want to come out with this video and kind of give people some kind of expectation of what I'm looking at and what I'm expecting. Realistically, so the numbers that I just shared with you were analyst numbers, right? They're expecting, the base expectations. They give a bull and they give a bear case. What I'm expecting, this is what I want to see. I understand they're going to come in at a loss. They're going to be burning a little bit of cash because they're a new company. They just redomiciled. They're transitioning into a completely different business from Bitcoin mining to HPC data center infrastructure. So if we could see any revenue between 30 and 35 million, this is what I'm expecting. This is what I would like to see. Anywhere between, well, let's say 32 to 35 million in revenue, and anywhere from -5 to -7 cents in adjusted EPS, accompanied by new updates in regards to data center build outs, construction being done. We have seen those satellite images out at Moses Lake where buildings have been, tore down, stuff has been getting moved, dirt getting moved around. So I would like to hear an update of what that could potentially be about. Buildings don't just disappear out of nowhere, so there is something going on. So I would like to hear an update about that. Also, I would like to hear an update about, again, I'm not worried about the lease deals right now. I'm going to give them time. I'm going to give them to at least the end of Q3, early Q4. But I just want to hear some positive momentum, right? The last couple of interviews and last quarter, yes, we heard some, just the same old rigmarole about the permits. We're doing well. They even said in the last earnings that they're not going to need new capital, but then, they went out and raised new capital, which I can understand the price, with what the price of the stock did, it was a good call, in my opinion. It was the perfect time to raise capital, and they executed that pretty well. But that's what I'm expecting, right? Between 31 and 35 million in revenue, adjusted EPS at about -5 to -7 cents, with a good, positive, forward-looking, updates and announcements. If they can do that, then I will continue to hold steady with Keel Infrastructure. Over the past couple of weeks, it's been hard to be a holder. They're down almost 30%. They did see a wild rise up, right? And they're still up over 100% over the past 3 or 4 months. So, we had to expect the volatility. We had to see it coming because, when things shoot up, they got to come down, right? It's just how it is. But we did see when it came down, it bounced off of perfect support levels from the highs back earlier this year. So that's also a good thing to see. It's not just, the bottom's not just falling through support levels, which would, not be good. So we do see some strength on the chart. So really it's just coiling up, and the ball is in their court to come out and give investors what they need to hear, what they want to hear, and, we can all go from there. But at the end of the day, I'm still bullish on Keel until I have a reason not to be, right? If they come out kicking the can down the road again and kicking the ball down the road, then, I will start questioning a little bit, okay, man, what's going on? So, there should be some kind of update. Y'all just did capital raise. You got the money. You should be able to at least announce and be doing something, right? A whole year going by without any meaningful updates is kind of getting suspicious if that does happen. But I don't expect that to happen. I expect them to come out with some good announcements to get investors happy. And so we'll see what happens. But that's my Q2 2026 earnings estimates for Keel Infrastructure. Let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think? What are y'all expecting from them on this earnings call? Are y'all expecting them to, bleed money a lot? Or are you expecting them to kind of blow the earnings out of the water? Let me know what you think. I'll be interested to read your comments. But till next time, guys, I appreciate y'all's support. Appreciate the love. Again, I'm sorry I've been out for a couple of days. I've been super under the weather, but we're back at it. We're back to making the videos. So happy to be back. Let's see what Keel does today. Yesterday, we kind of seen it bounce a little bit and get some action. We're still in the low $4 range, but I think leading into Q2 earnings, we can see this thing really start moving. So we'll see you on the next one. Don't panic, sell your bags, and y'all have a good day.